Donald Trump took to the dais in Palm Beach in Florida after his victory, he made it a point to laud his team. Among those who featured was Indian origin Usha Vance. Usha Vance, the wife of US Vice President-elect JD Vance, is a woman of impressive academic and professional accomplishments. A journey from the San Francisco Bay Area to Yale Law School and more recently to the national spotlight as the spouse of a Vice President-elect underscores a life defined by dedication, intellect, and a quiet but influential role in shaping American political discourse. Born as Usha Chillukuri to Indian immigrant parents, Usha grew up in the culturally rich and diverse environment of the San Francisco Bay Area. Her upbringing, influenced by both American and Indian traditions, played a pivotal role in shaping her understanding of cross-cultural dynamics. Usha's academic potential was evident very early on, leading her to attend Yale University, where she pursued a degree in history. Her passion for learning did not stop there. After graduating from Yale, she furthered her education at the University of Cambridge, where she earned a Master of Philosophy degree, cementing her position as a highly intellectual individual. Usha's academic pedigree naturally extended into a highly successful legal career. After completing her studies, she clerked for two prominent figures in American law, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh, before his appointment to the U.S. Supreme Court. These clerkships are often seen as a mark of distinction, and Usha's work in these prestigious roles helped her earn recognition as an up-and-coming force in legal circles. Her legal background, paired with her deep understanding of U.S. governance, policy and law, gave her a strong foundation from which to support her husband as he navigated his own political career. While Usha was and has maintained a relatively low public profile compared to her husband, her influence and support behind the scenes has been crucial in shaping JD Vance's public persona and political trajectory. We'll talk about this with our guest. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Mr. Pradeep Kapoor, former diplomat, Dr. Sampath Shivangi, President of the Indian American Forum for Political Education, also joins us on the show. Adit Kothari, founding member, the Indic Society, also joins us on the program. Well, appreciate everyone being here on the program. Dr. Shivangi, I'll begin with you. Well, it's always heartening to see, and when you're in India and you see an Indian headed for the White House or anyway near the top political discourse in the United States, it always brings a sense of pride, and it also serves as a reminder, sir, that Indian Americans, they may be limited in number, but when it comes to having an impact in a number of discourses, especially political one and business ones, they do leave a very important mark. And Usha is, of course, from that line of people.
Yes, she has done very well. I think she was one of the top lawyers in California. I think I was told she quit to help her husband, especially as vice president. I think she is a big force behind him. I think she has 3 children and a family, come from Andhra Pradesh, very devoted Hindu as well. Her husband, who was a Protestant to start with, changed to Catholicism, becoming a Catholic, and she continued to stay as a Hindu. I mean, I'm not saying that why and how, but she maintained her Hinduism and continues to be practicing Hindu. I think that shows her ancestry and her parental education. I think we all stick together. Even in US, we are a few million Indians. I think the majority of us are Hindus. I think she is one of us, and we are very happy to see she's going to be staying in a vice presidential mansion where Mrs. Kamala Harris is going to vacate, and she's going to occupy the same house. So we have one Indian either way in the vice presidential mansion. So I'm happy about it. So welcome the family, and we look forward to their leadership. Even I'm told that after 4 years, of course, He may be candidate for president, and Ramasamy may be vice president candidate in 2028. So let's wait and see what happens.
Ambassador Kapoor, obviously, everybody was hoping that Kamala Harris, somebody of Indian origin, would be getting at the top of, the political mountain of not only America but the world as well. But, we have the second best thing in Usha. She's going to be, very much responsible, very much in the limelight with JD Vance. And, obviously, oftentimes, it's the vice president also who makes it to the top position in the United States. We've had many such examples.
Vineet, you're absolutely right. And I would say that not the second best, but probably the best situation for America to have a vice president whose wife is Hindu of Indian origin, and to have a president currently who's Donald Trump. Because you can imagine the sort of grind that he has gone through. Any person who has to go through those cases, through those legal challenges, through hundreds of problems which have been heaped upon him. And he had mentioned continuously about the weaponization of the Department of Justice, but just sitting back and reflecting about it, and just thinking as to any human being who had to go through that sort of difficulties at this age of his life, non-stop, and being dragged from one court case to the other court case, and not being given any respite whatsoever. And for that sort of person to be able to survive all that stress and the tension and the trauma, and then come out as almost as a phoenix rising from the ashes, I think it's one of the most commendable jobs. And coming back to Usha Chilukuri, whatever I have read of her, she is very understated, and she is a very high achiever. She has done very well in life for herself. She is very bright. She has studied at Yale University. She has studied at University of Cambridge. She has 3 children. The middle son is named Vivek, and it seems there was an overlap at Yale between Vivek Ramaswamy and JD Vance and Usha Chilukuri. And they were very close to each other, and that's why she has named the middle son as Vivek. Now, to have such a person who's also very modest, but very good and devoted person, very dedicated person, because I have seen their interviews, the way she comes across is absolutely proper, absolutely professional, and absolutely comfortable. When she's asked questions, she does not go into any confused language or any word salad like Kamala Harris used to do. And Kamala Harris also had a lot of obligations to a lot of, vested interests, the deep state, the Muslim lobby, the Wokes, so many others. So Usha and JD come without any such baggage. So for them to look ahead to the future of America, to the best interests of America, becomes a lot simpler. And JD Vance has, confessed and stated on many occasions that to have Usha by his side has been a source of great inspiration, great pride, and great inputs, in the sense that he has once stated very clearly when he was asked by the interviewer that what do you think of Usha, he said, oh, she would have made a much better candidate for vice president than me. So to have them in that vice president's house in the Naval Observatory area, I think will be a matter of great pride for India. And Kamala Harris, of course, did a lot of work to iron out a lot of problems with India. She would have the best Diwali parties for Indian origin people, Indian diaspora. So it's not that she can be painted all black. She has done a lot of good. She's a good lady, and she will also have a very good future because she's very young. She will be a very big challenger for the next election. And the Indian diaspora role will continue to increase because they are very important in the US system in every way, in the economy here. They are becoming more important in politics here. They are very important in governance here. They are very important in all the different domains of academics, whether it is NGOs or any other domain. So to have an Indian diaspora person or an Indian origin person at the White House, because the vice president has his office in the White House area, also in the Eisenhower office building. So to have an Indian lady accompanying that vice president, I think is a very good thing, because in the US, the wife of the president and the vice president, they play a very important role, and many times they play official roles. So I am absolutely very proud, and I'm sure that it beckons that the future which is going to be coming in many ways is going to be good, because she's also going to be a moderating influence, so that they are going to see how to heal all the divisiveness. Back to you, Vineet.
All right, we'll also in fact talk about another Indian origin person. Usha Vance is not the only prominent Indian American who is in the spotlight. Following his recent electoral win, US President-elect Donald Trump is gearing up to announce the key members of his new administration. Among the names widely floated for top national security roles is Kash Patel, a long-standing Trump ally known for his loyalty and significant influence within Trump's first administration. If appointed, Patel would be one of the highest-ranking Indian Americans in the U.S. government, potentially stepping into the role of CI Deputy Director. Patel's career has been marked by controversial rise within the U.S. government, from his early days as a public defender to his key role as Chief of Staff of Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller during Trump's previous term. Born in New York to Gujarati immigrant parents, Patel first earned recognition as a lawyer handling complex cases in Miami before transitioning into federal service. His early tenure at the Department of Justice saw him handling counter-terrorism cases, prosecuting members of Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and building a reputation for his aggressive approach to national security. And during Trump's first term, Patel worked closely with Devin Nunes, the then chair of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, leading efforts to counter claims of Russian interference in the 2016 election. Patel's role in drafting the Nunes memo, a document accusing the FBI of misusing its surveillance authority, catapulted him into the national spotlight and earned him Trump's trust. He later held key roles within the National Security Council and Office of the Director of National Intelligence, where he oversaw 17 intelligence agencies and helped shape Trump's counter-terrorism policies as well. All right, let me in fact now open Adit Kothari, founding member of the Indic Society, into this conversation. Adit, another prominent Indian who's making waves, and Donald Trump, of course, is a friend of India. Not to say that's going to be the sole reason for an Indian American to be in his position, but like most Indian Americans who live in the United States, who have twice the average per capita income, it's only safe to say that they do well for themselves.
Absolutely, and I think Donald Trump himself doesn't keep any pretenses when he says that he loves the Hindu people. The fact that he's come out openly to say something like that testifies that he puts in a lot of faith in the sort of the Hindu diaspora that are basically surrounding him. Now, whether that be a Vivek Ramaswamy, whether that be a Kash Patel, or whether that be even someone like a Nikki Haley for that matter. So he does really respect them a lot, and the kind of loyalty that people like Kash Patel, Shalabh Kumar, etc. have also demonstrated. Goes to point that the sort of camaraderie between Trump and the sort of Hindu diaspora, the Indian diaspora working around him, he seems to put in a lot of trust in them. So from a Harmeet Dillon to a Shalabh Kumar to a Nikki Haley to a Vikram Ramaswamy, there was a couple of times when he was asked questions about Ramaswamy, and Trump said he's smart as hell. He's probably one of the most clever people he's ever met, and if he was to be elected president, he desperately would seek his advice in some sort of a capacity. So there is without doubt that all of these people who have stood by him like rock in his testing times will find things to be done from that sort of perspective. Most of the Indian Republicans and the Indian Americans, now on both sides of the party line, whether that be the Democrats or the Republicans, now have come out of the shadows as well. They're not shying away from demonstrating their sort of heritage, their civilizational value system, and they seem to be connecting their civilizational roots to the American value system, which is the most prominent thing that we see now. So now, even if we talk about Usha Vance for now, or Vivek Ramaswamy, when he was asked very compelling questions about him being a Hindu, he beautifully connects the dots, and he says that, in reality, my civilizational systems, my civilizational value system is not so different to the American value system. And, they are connecting the dots, which is why the American people are also, starting to respect them. Vinay?
Absolutely. And Dr. Shivangi, this is also indicative of, the secular nature of American democracy and how similar it is, to what India stands for, isn't it?
Absolutely. President Trump has upheld the values of Hinduism, and he knows very well. And I had several occasions to meet with him, and he appointed me to the National Board of Mental Health in Washington, D.C. 4 years ago. And of course, President Biden continued. I'm still there because of his generosity, I would say. So I think he likes India. I think he went to India and he enjoyed his 3-4 days of trip to India. And he's a very close friend of Modi ji. I think they have big friendship. I think that will flourish in the coming years. I think India will see a completely different Trump than many Americans feel that he's tough. He is tough because, as Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor said, he has withstood hundreds of lawsuits, and comes as a president-elect. I think how many such examples we can see under the sun. I don't think we have anyone else to compare. We all salute him. I had a great opportunity to meet him a couple of months ago in Milwaukee. I'm still the delegate at the National RNC convention, and he was there. I met JD Vance, Usha, President Trump. And they were very, very friendly and very affectionate. I think that should serve our U.S.-India friendship. I think we must see we have issues in India right now, burning issue of Bangladesh. I think one sentence from President Trump, maybe when he becomes or takes over the charge of presidency, I think he should take care of Bangladesh. One strong-worded memo from him, I think, will change. I'm already told that the new president of Bangladesh is already succumbing to President Trump's few words he has mentioned about not to go after Hindus, not to kill them, not to destabilize them. I think that's a good lesson. I think he will do to many other countries, including our neighboring countries. I don't want to name the country, but I think he'll be a wonderful president. I think he'll be a great president of India. I think we look forward to his days as a president.
Right, Ambassador Kapoor, same thought for you to respond to as well. Donald Trump, obviously, looking at the situation of Hindus in Bangladesh is very heartening. That does give you an insight into the inclusive nature, that he possesses, and that he also wants to percolate down into the government.
Well, Vineet, it's going to be a very difficult and a very uphill task to manage the deep state, because whatever I understand of the situation in Bangladesh, it was very bad, because we had been working with the embassy of Bangladesh in the US and the government of Bangladesh in Dhaka when they had sanctioned the Rapid Action Battalion. The Rapid Action Battalion was a force which was trying to control the terrorists and jihadis and the rape of Hindu women and the atrocities on Hindu men and terrorism in Bangladesh against the Hindus. And the US forces, led by their vested interests, including the State Department and CIA and others, had sort of sanctioned that very force and the senior generals of that force. So their effort, along with the disparate elements like the evangelicals who want to convert the Hindus to Christianity, and then there are the other woke elements So these are all, breaking India forces combining together to disrupt the neighborhood. There also is a lot of overlap with the breaking US forces, which includes George Soros. So the effort is not going to be let up very easily because they have a lot of money and they have a lot of power and they have a lot of strength and they have a lot of resources. Because even in Myanmar, for example, when I look at it very closely, there are efforts going on to break it up into a few countries and to create a whole belt there, taking away parts of areas around Chittagong which have Christian majority, parts of Myanmar which are Chin majority and Christianity, followers Christianity, then also include those parts in the northeast from India which have a majority Christian population. And one of the chief ministers of the northeast was here in the US in a meeting with the Indiana population, the diaspora from the northeast. He mentioned in very different terms about breaking up the northeast and combining it together with parts of Myanmar and Bangladesh. He's an opposition CM, so it was very disturbing to hear all that as a current incumbent CM in India in the northeast to speak that language, which is against India, which is treasonous language. So those efforts are not going to be let up because China is also trying to break up Myanmar and create another sort of sub-state which will owe allegiance to China, including parts of Bangladesh and India. US also wanted a naval base in in Bangladesh, and they had threatened Sheikh Hasina, and Sheikh Hasina has been on record to mention that. So all these elements, including people like George Soros, who have been very much against Trump also and are against Modi. So what I feel is that the breaking US forces will he will have to try to curtail it. He will have to make a lot of effort to it. It will be a very hard uphill task.
Absolutely,
but,
sir.
People are like Kashyap Patel, his full name is Kashyap, as we know.
I know, sir.
Those people are the ones who will try to control all these rogue elements who are there in many of the departments and agencies here and who keep on working towards, interests which are antithetical and inimical to peace on the subcontinent. So
absolutely, sir. Well said and well articulated, sir. Appreciate your presence here as well as appreciate the presence of Dr. Shivangi and other. Thank you so much for taking out the time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.